Because when I found this truth, guess what happened? I put my birthday away. When I found this truth, I put the drugs away. When I found this truth, I quit pouring my sisters. When I found this truth, I started becoming a better man and a better person. Because now I know I'm on that narrow path. Now I know I'm on the right path. Now I know what I'm doing is gonna get me somewhere.
Yeah, on 44 shit, you know what I mean? Busy man. Look, when that shit drop, you step all the way on their neck, step on their neck and they head with that shit.
Fine then, I ain't show no mercy, we gon' show them boy what time it is. I pop out like I'm Samuel, I got time to kill. Haters thought I died, I survived. They don't know how I did it, got it out the mud, straight to glory. They don't know how I fed, he nice, but he don't show them skills, how I show them skills. He ride, but he don't work the wheel, how I work the wheel. They mad, up too solid, circle tight, yeah, vacuum seal. No, they want my life, I ain't worried, I got rank for real. I got real soldiers, kill for me, nigga, watch yourself. They say you been in beast mode lately, you is not self. When you dropping that fire, precious marriage, they inquiring. They can't stop what's coming, but I see them conspire. Cross the line, them firing. This bitch here, finna break the spin. No kindness, I don't trust you, circle small. You can keep your features. Me and my niggas don't keep no secrets. And it feel like Jeepers Creepers. Say they want some smoke, dog. So I brought these chimney swings. Coming like we coming, you can't even cap. These niggas don't run it like we running. Bitch, don't even start. Bitch, I'm with my niggas till the end, till them do us part. If you wanna leave, you can leave, bitch. Bless your heart, fine then. I ain't show no mercy, we gon' show them boy what time it is. I pop out like I'm Samuel, I got time to kill. Haters thought I died, I survived. They don't know how I did it, got it out the mud, straight to glory. They don't know how I feel. He nice, but he don't show them skills, how I show them skills. He ride, but he don't work the wheel, how I work the wheel. Oh, I got a man, circle tight, yeah, vacuum seal. I heard they want my life, I ain't worried, I got rate for real. Take over in effect, yeah, I'm fully focused. You might not see it on me, just know it's women, that bitch fully loaded. Ooh, yeah, we up and rolling. Told them I need major motion. Think I'm joking, I'ma school them niggas like they baby Jody. Got it out the dust, now I'm too clean, don't know why they hate me. What you want out life, dawg? Guns and butter, baby boy. UPK top, dawg. Certified road runner. I'ma turn that eco line into a damn tank. I got choppers stashed in that attic like they in front. They had that shit on lock till I snapped on them like bolt cutters. You cannot play both sides, gotta choose your colors. See him throwing that one up with that W, that's my blood, bro. Fine then, I ain't show no mercy, I'm gon' show them boy what time it is. I pop out like I'm Samuel, I got time to kill. Haters thought I died, I survived. They don't know how I did it, got it out the dust, straight to glory. They don't know how I feel. He nice, but he don't show them skills, how I show them skills. He ride, but he don't work the wheel, how I work the wheel. Ooh, I got a man, circle tight, yeah, vacuum seal. Said they want my life, I ain't worried, I got Ray for real.
Don't let them take you out your spirit, gotta stay focused. Can't go back living how I was, cause it's repulsive. I don't ask for much, that's all I ever wanted. And not killing, die by hundreds, you can quote me. Yeah, these hoes for the streets, they ain't holy. I ain't pulling up the spiritual when devils kiss your boots. We ain't no cowards, please don't say what you gon' do. Or post something on the internet you think you gotta prove. Cause I got Karak Ice, I got Shia War, got Kasarpakai, I got Imawan, got Kabataban, I got Tazaba, got Kakamaima, got Karanyala, got Yaragabar, Tribe of Issachar, bring out Gobble War. Couple young men in this bitch with an olive oil. If you ain't in these ranks, then you out of order. It's a time for everything right now, it's time for war. And I'm still the same nigga when I'm not recording. I pull up, shoot from half like I'm Michael Jordan. I don't think they fit to join the Lord's army. I survived a Christian church, moral of the story. I done beat so many demons, I got war stories. Garment look so hardcore, look like I morphed on him. Appetite for battle, yeah, I'm war hungry. I ain't choose this life, the Lord chose me. I'm a certified priest and I don't take that lightly. How I feel about this shit, yeah, I can't describe it. I know they mad at me, cause I can't trust the white man. I gird up my loins and did something mighty. Yeah, what's done in private, it's gonna come to light. Speak the truth into these bones and watch them come to life. All my friends are dead, let loose all the plagues, yeah.
Yeah, 6 war soldier, you heard me? ISUPK, we still here, long live my brother. Pain in my chest, but I stand tall. You know, endure to the end, that's what he did. Yeah. Hey, one West, we said that we tall. Lost my brother alone, a mission, he gave it his all. From the 6-1 streets to the prophet's call. He riding on chairs when Christ returned. Long live one West, we crying a nigga, but we standing strong. He endured to the end, never fought it, yeah, he held on. Texas raised a real nigga, New Orleans born. The long live one West, yeah, his spirit live on. I'm steady screaming, yeah, one West. I'm steady screaming, yeah, one West. I'm steady screaming, yeah, one West. From the bricks of the 6, walking in the pavement. Heart was heavy, but his mind stayed ancient. Felt the truth late, felt the fire in his chest. Said I served the most high, I ain't moving like the rest. Came to Texas, boots on the ground. Into the block, never turned around. Through the trials and the stress. He was built for the storm. He was forged in the test. Never chased fame, never needed applause. Just wanted righteousness, just wanted the laws. Yeah, hear me, don't play the 50 with me round. When niggas was weak, he lit them with words and actions. When sisters fell low, he reminded them they was chosen since birth. Solid as a song, never cracked in the stone. Stay diligent, patient, kept the spirit warm. Boss hit deep, feel a shop in my chest. Since a little nigga, he too stand strong. One with one West. The realest of niggas, I'm not sure it too. Remember my nights I was talking to you. Precision service, you make no excuse. He had a mouth made to do what they do. Boy, I'm shopping and living like you. Taking a walk up the sea at a time. Didn't know it'd be my last time. One West, we standing, we tall. Lost my brother alone, a mission, he gave it his all. From the 6-1 streets to the prophet's call. He riding on chairs when Christ returned. Long live one West, we crying with nigga, but we standing strong. He endured to the end, never fought it, yeah, he held on. Texas raised a warrior, you heard me, New Orleans born. Long live one West, yeah, spirit live on, you heard me? Shout out to Officer 5000 Karad. When I see you in the kingdom again, I'm like, what's that, Wardy? Don't play that 50 with me round. Remember them nights we was breaking down scriptures. Just in his eyes, the truth is different. We're gonna hate us, the kingdom is worth it. We gotta suffer, we serve it for purpose. Never complain when the load got heavy. Pen in the filter, no loss in the power. Talking about terrorists, light in the sky. Christ coming back, we finally gonna rise. Finish the race. Nigga, we heard, but can't let it break us. Sacrifices everything that made us. All we fail, for what is the fall? More than we build, we grieve and we rise. Oh, little one West, yeah, his spirit live on. I'm steady screaming one West. I'm steady screaming one West. Hey, I'm steady screaming one West. I'm steady screaming one West. Only one West, you heard me? Let the whole world know. You know, from the 6 walls to the eyes, you began to command and turn your honor. Officer 5000 Karad. You say, what's down, Wardy? I'ma see you in the kingdom of heaven, you heard me? You know, don't put a 50 with me round. Hey, check this out right quick. I ain't gonna be too long-winded. I remember all the things you used to say and everything you told me, man. But till Christ come back, we standing strong.
Hey, Shalom Israel. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Turn me up a little bit. Start out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commandant General Yohana. Let's go ahead and clap it up. This is the Monday scripture breakdown class. really, if you have any questions or need any things answered, just post them in the comments. I do have a topic. The topic is really just the topic is called, the trial of your faith. You understand? There's a lot of times, because of Christianity, we don't really have a clear understanding of, what this life is for so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, in the society that we live in this world that we live in. And the Christian pastors have not done our community any good in the information that they've given and provided to us in terms of how to serve our power, to serve our God. And because of that, our people have been destroyed. Give me that I think what Christ says, or it might be in Micah as well. I looked upon them as sheep having no shepherd. The children of Israel, so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, they were described as sheep. Sheep are not necessarily intelligent creatures. They were made to follow. And that's really the whole of our experience in the whole of our lives is, what are you going to follow? We were made to follow, but whether we experience success or failure is based on what we're following. You understand? And that's the test. That's the trial. You understand? And could you pull up for me the definition of trial on Google? Let's see what it say. Like I said, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them. And until I see any questions, I'll go ahead with this subject.
So this is the definition of trial: a former examination of evidence before a judge and typically before a jury. In order to decide guilt in a case of criminal or civil proceedings.
All right, and what's the next?
Test of the performance, qualities, or suitability of someone or something.
Right, so it's a test of the performance and qualities or suitability of someone, right? What's it say here as a verb? Actually, I think it's the same thing. So it's a formal examination, and I think it says in James. Give me James chapter 1, verse 2. And get that. And then before we get that, go ahead and read to me that one I asked you for first.
Okay, sir. It's the book of Mark, chapter 6 and verse 34. And Yahushua, when he came out, saw much people and was moved with compassion toward them, because they were as sheep not having a shepherd.
Right. When Christ seen the condition of our people, and it was a lot of us, what he saw was followers with no leadership. You understand? And it's like a house of children with no parents. You can imagine what's going on in that house. Sheep are meant to be cared for. They're meant to be led. They're meant to be fed. They're meant to be protected. But for sheep to thrive, they have to have good shepherds. They have to have good leadership. And this life that we live in serving our power, this thing that we're going through is a trial, right? Because Christ's death is the whole point of Christ's death is to see who is going to be the new leadership, who's going to be the leaders. Christ's death gave some of us an opportunity to be the new leaders in a new world. That's what his death is about. You understand? And in order for you to qualify as a leader in this new world, you have to be tested. You have to go through a trial. And read the definition for me again of a trial.
Okay. A test of the performance, qualities, or suitability of someone or something.
Well, actually, the first one, Salakia.
Okay. A formal examination.
A formal examination, right? A lot of times we make our lives about the oppressor. We make our lives about the nations that are against us, our enemies, right? But the Lord is not really concerned about them. The Lord's focus is you. That's why, like, if you notice, it's not the other nations that are going through tests and trials. They're living life. They're in this this life and they're living it. We are being tried. We are being tested. You understand? Give me Judges chapter 2 and let me see. We're being tested to see who we're going to follow, if we're being tested to see what we're going to do with power, right? Because power isn't shared, it's only transferred. You understand? And the trial is to see who we're going to follow, because who we follow is who we're trying to get power from. And that's just the truth. You know, when you see a person that is you know, we use words like coon, you know what I'm saying, you know, step and fetch, or a token, right? These are people in any of our out of our 12 tribes, or 12, you know what I'm saying, 12 tribes. These are people that have identified power with this society, and they've made a decision to go against their own people because they want power from who they feel is the power, right? And this has been going on for ages. In fact, also too, if I could, give me First Maccabees, I think it's chapter 1, where it says when they said they made a covenant with the heathen, or league with the heathen. You understand? The Lord is always the trial that Adam went through, the trial that Abraham was given, the trial that the nation of Israel was given, has always been, who are we going to follow? Who are we going to take heed to? Who are we going to listen to? You understand? That's, and you know, when you hear things like, you know, we are no longer under the law, what this is really talking about is, you know, do you need somebody with a hammer over your head to do the right thing? Does somebody have to be watching over you and you know, every day and checking to make sure that you're doing the right thing? You understand? Or are you, or of your own will and own decision, are you going to follow God? You understand? Let me see, Judges. I think I got what you're looking for. It's at the end of chapter 2, going into chapter 3. I just don't know. Let me see. Let's see. I guess you could start at verse 20.
Okay, this is the book of Judges, chapter 2, verse 20. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel. And he said, because that this people hath transgressed my covenant, which I commanded their fathers, and have not hearkened unto my voice. 21. I also will not henceforth drive out any from before them of the nations which Joshua left when he died.
Right. When Joshua crossed over Jordan and leadership was given to him to go into Canaan, it was to take back the land that the Lord had promised us, right? That land that Joshua was coming back into. People always, you know, I hear people, you know, in current culture, they talk about how, you know, the land never belonged to the Israelites. They came in as, colonizers and all that. That's not true. Adam's family, that land belonged to Adam's family in the beginning. The Garden of Eden was the territory that belonged to Israel. Adam It was given to Adam. Adam built, through the guidance of the Most High, Adam built a kingdom and ruled the planet, ruled Eden. Eden was the planet, and the Garden of Eden was the capital. And that particular capital belonged, it was the power hub, or the center of power for Adam's government. And when Adam fell, when he took counsel from his wife, who had received counsel from another nation, he lost his power. He lost his seat. You understand? And from that until Abraham, the whole entire goal was to give that land back to Adam's family. Do you understand? So when the promise that the Most High gave to Abraham was to get that territory, or that promise of that land back. But the requirement of the Lord was to be perfect. There was no area where Abraham could compromise or negotiate with what the Lord required to rule, to give that land to his seed, to his children. You know, the requirement was to be perfect. But as in everything, the only way to know if you're perfect is if you're tested. Right? When you sit in class and you study and you hear the information, it's fly, bro. You got to get assassinated. When you hear the information, the only way to know that you know this knowledge and that what you've been taught is in you is to be tested. You understand? And we had an agreement with our power, and as a people, we broke that agreement. We broke that contract, and like anything, the Bible says you have to prove a friend. Right? And the Lord had to prove Abraham. Abraham was called a friend of God. He had to be proven that he was loyal to the Most High. Because a lot of times people will be in distress. People will be in terrible conditions, and they'll cry out for help. It's a natural thing to do for a human, is to cry out for help when they're going through a difficulty. But then when they receive the help and they get stabilized, what are they going to do after that? It's like while you were in this position of distress and in a low place, you were willing to do anything to get out of it. But then once you get out of that position and you have the power, you're empowered in a sense again, what do you do? And we read here in Judges 3 what happened, right? It said that when the judge, actually read up verse 19. Read that verse.
Come. The book of Judges, chapter 2, verse 19. And it came to pass, when the judge was dead, that they returned and corrupted themselves more than their fathers.
Right, meaning that once the person that was assigned to govern everybody's behavior, once he died, they returned and corrupted themselves, meaning that they only did what God required because there was somebody, watching over them, watching everything, making sure that this is how things are supposed to go. That's not an indication that that you have faith. You understand? And what it means is that, if the police are parked in the middle of the median on a highway, then you won't speed. But if you don't see any police, then, it's foot to the gas, right? Meaning that you only regard what you're supposed to do if there's somebody there watching over you to make sure that you do the right thing. And and that's not what the Most High wants. You understand? That's when he's saying to be perfect. This has nothing to do with somebody looking over you to make sure that you do what's right. And being in leadership, you could be tempted to want to control what somebody's doing. You want to make sure they're doing the right thing. And that's not what we do. What we do in the ISUPK as leaders is we counsel and tell you the thing that should be done, what God requires. And then after that, it's up to you to decide who you're going to follow. Right? Read it from the top again.
Come. And it came to pass, when the judge was dead, that they returned and corrupted themselves more than their fathers, in following other gods to serve them and to bow down unto them.
Right, meaning that they were influenced by what was around them, not by who gave them strength, not by who put them in a position of power. They were influenced by what everybody else was doing. It's, I guess the term would be peer pressure. Right? But that's the crazy part. Give me give me the definition for peer. Because that word peer pressure is interesting. Right? Let's see what peer means.
The definition of peer is a person who shares the same standings, abilities, background, or social status as another.
And give me what the original meaning of it means in Latin. You got it right there. Oh, it's right there. It's not highlighted.
Oh, it's lucky. The term originates from the Latin par, meaning equal.
Meaning what?
Equal.
So think about this. Peer pressure means the pressure of equality. That's a good way to put it, right? Peer pressure means the pressure of being equal. This is why your God, the God of the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, this is why he does things the way that he does them, because the pressure of equality is you trying to be like everybody else. You're trying to find an equality with everybody else, and in you doing that, because that doesn't exist, you doing that, you end up becoming the nation or the people that are on the bottom. Right? How do I know that? I'm sorry, I'm be putting mad stuff, right? Give me Deuteronomy 7:6. How do I know that? How do I know that? You a person that is when you tell your kids, get along with everybody, I'm not saying tell your children to go to school and, not listen or be, not be cordial and not be courteous. But what I mean is that you should never put it in your child's mind that they're equal with anybody. You understand? Especially other nations. You understand? You should be putting it in your child's mind that you need to be perfect, right? And if you put that in their head, they're not looking at what everybody else is doing as a standard or a measure of how they should conduct themselves. Because if you don't have a peer, then what's the pressure? The only pressure is to be perfect, right? Let me get that Deuteronomy 7:6.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God.
Right.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
Unto himself. The Lord didn't say that we were equal with anybody. He said we were special. Right? Special is the opposite of normal. Normal is what's common. Special is something that is rare or different. Right? And we haven't absorbed that or embraced that as a nation. So-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians. What we're trying to do is we're trying to fit ourselves into white supremacy. We're trying to fit ourselves into this American ideal or society. And, our oppressor is such a subtle beast, even in the mantra for being an American, it's what? It's the pursuit of what? It's the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, right? Right. It's the individual pursuit. Right. So he in his mantra for the nation, for you to how you idealize or imagine life in America, it's the individual pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. So is you as an individual pursuing life as you see it, liberty as you see it, and happiness as you see it. So you you taking that in, you've already separated yourself from family, from a nation. Now it's about what you want, right? But you're doing that based off of the idea of, well, everybody has an equal what? Opportunity. Everybody has an equal opportunity. Well, if you're a black, Latino, Native Indian, there is no equal opportunity. There is no equality, right? The pressure of equality, you can free yourself from that by absorbing what you see here in the scriptures, man. Read again, Ak.
Go and come. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God.
Right. You're holy. That's heavy. Damn. You're holy unto God. Think about that. It's like, okay, if what does it mean to be holy? It means to be set apart. The Lord has unto him, he has set you apart unto him. You're special unto him. So the only pressure that you should be responding to is his expectations.
Right.
Right? It's like a lot of times, man, you know, women in relationships, what do they say? They say girlfriends keep their friends single, or they turn the sisters who have happy relationships to being single again. Why? Because you're operating off of peer pressure. Girl, I wouldn't let him talk to me like that. He's treating you like that. He don't really love you. Your point of reference isn't the person that has, you know, said that you're special unto himself. Your point of reference is what you see how other sisters' lives are going, whether they be single or married. You're looking at what's around you instead of looking at what you're supposed to be looking up to. Right? You shouldn't be measuring your relationship based off of other women and what they got going on. You should be measuring it between, you know, you should be measuring it based off of the success of you and your man. But a lot of sisters will you know, they get into these, like, you know, what they call that, they get into these little, you know, friend groups and chats and all that. And, you know, it's like it's like their relationship with their husband is a competition with other sisters about how much their man loves them, and it's based off of some standard that they've created in their heads. You know what I'm saying? And the God that we serve, you know what I'm saying, we kind of do the same thing. We look at what the other nations have, and then we want to serve a God based off of what we can get out of it. You know what I'm saying? When we were made to serve our power, and a woman was made to serve her husband, the Bible says that man was not created for the woman, but woman for the man. In the same way that as a nation, Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, the children of Israel, we were not created, you know what I'm saying, for the Most High to serve us. We were created for us to serve the Most High. You can go ahead and do with that. But that pressure of that peer pressure, that pressure of equality, you know, I see a lot of sisters sometimes, you know, it trips me out when I see women that post pictures of themselves with flowers. You know, typically you're supposed to be given flowers. You know what I'm saying? I never see pictures of somebody giving somebody the flowers. It's always them just holding the flowers. You know, I mean, and maybe they did get them from somebody. I don't know. Maybe somebody did take the time to give them flowers, but a lot of times I feel like this is it's people giving themselves flowers. You know, they wanted to acknowledge themselves when, you know, like I said, if you're a student and you're in class, you know, you can't give yourself the grade for the class. A teacher, it has to be a judge. Someone has to approve your performance. They have to approve the work that you put in and say, yeah, this is your grade. This is what you've earned. But if you're living according to somebody else's standards, right, and their sense of what success is, or what accomplishment is, or you're living according to your own, then, you know, you'll never get approval from, you know, the person that matters. And in a relationship and in a marriage, it should be from your husband. And in terms of you know, us as a nation, the approval should come from our God. That's why he said, if you hearken unto my words, you'll be blessed. But if you disobey what I say, then you're going to be punished, cursed. You understand? The state of Blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Indians, our condition is really an indication that we haven't gotten approval. Right? And Christ's death is the opportunity for us to reconcile ourselves to our power, to gain that approval. And now, this is not somebody sitting over us, saying, make sure you do the right thing. That's not what's going on here at this point. You understand? And why am I saying this? We place too much emphasis on who's around us, these other nations, when really they're only there because they're part of our test. Yeah. Go ahead and finish 7, 7, and 6, and we'll get back to Judges. Salakia.
Okay.
Shalom, sis. If you have any questions? Okay, no sweat. Go ahead.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, you have no peer. You don't have a peer. So you shouldn't be affected by peer pressure. You understand? If a brother has chosen you, right, to be special unto himself, the only thing you should be thinking about is how can I please him? How can I meet his standard? And in like manner, us as a nation, we shouldn't be worried about the standards of white society and their expectations, because it's so crazy what Martin Luther King did. He had us to fight for equality. So we started under the bar.
Right. Good night.
When the Lord is saying that we're above all of them. So it's how do I put this? What do they call it? A goose chase? Basically, it's when you're pursuing something that you're never going to achieve. But why can you never achieve equality with them? Because the Lord said that you're superior. The Lord said that you're above all people. How can imagine that you're on this quest to find equality with everybody, and God said you're above everybody. It's like, I don't even know what the word is. It's like a double. It's like a double. What's the word?
Double negative.
Yeah, like a double negative. Like the Lord already said that you're above. You're ignoring that, and then you're trying to pursue equality with the people that know that you're above them, and that's why they hate you. White supremacy stems out of small penis envy. It's white men that know that they cannot satisfy their women. And we were at camp. Were you at camp with us when we were at camp, and Priest and Officer Gadawan, shout out to him, give him a hand for all the excellent work he's doing. You know what I'm saying? And there was a white man and his daughter that came to the camp, and then the white man's wife came, and Priest and Officer Gadawan was like, I feel sorry for your wife, right? And Gadawan didn't even make any statement. And the white man confessed and said, why? Because I have a small pecker? He said it. He said, you feel sorry for my wife because my penis is small? Well, they say confession is good for the soul, right? The entire idea of white supremacy is they have to find a way to make it's all based in insecurity. They have to find a way to reconcile and compensate for the fact that God doesn't love them. In the book of Obadiah, the Lord says, I've made you small amongst the heathen. It's literal. Listen, I know that the Lord loves me, because when I know he does, because when I take a shower and I look down, I know that he loves me. I know that he loves me. But blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, little sisters, you know that you see some so-called white women at the age of 22, they look like they're 46. Right? Like it's and this is the thing. You don't, because of how we are, we don't, it's something that we are naturally, so we don't think about it that way. But when they look at us, that's all they can think about. Because what they say, that comparison is the killer of joy. Right. The white people have no joy. The other nations, they have no joy. All they have is pain. You wonder why. It's like, dang, why do they hate us so much? Why, like they've already won. Why do they keep stepping on us? Why aren't they satisfied with the power that they have? Because no matter how much money they get, no matter how many corporations that they set up, No matter how many governments that they run, they go into the bathroom and look down and they say, "Damn." They listen. Go look up the reports about the number of white women that are actually satisfied by white men sexually in the bed. You notice to be true because their wives have dildos in their drawers, and then usually 9 times out of 10, what are the color of those dildos? They're black. Even in their language, you have white women who say, "I want a man that's tall, dark, and handsome." If white men are the epitome of beauty, then how come it wasn't I want a man that's tall, white, and handsome? Where did the tall, dark, and handsome come from? In slavery, the white man, he was the slave master. He had the plantation, he had the power, he could take life, right? He could sell off children, he could take a brother's wife and lay with her if he wanted to. He had power. But that white woman, despite all of his power, that white woman really only wanted one thing: black rod. She would take that black man, and when her husband was off going to the auction to go get some, to go buy some more of our people, she was bringing that black man into her bedroom. And this is why, if you study lynching, if you go and look into the history of lynching, they had a what's the word, a ritual of, after they would hang a brother, they would castrate him. They would cut off his rod. Think about that. You have the power to kill this man, and then as you kill him and you strip him naked, all the women are looking at what? He's dead, hanging from a tree, and they're still admiring his what? His rod. So that white man is like, no, I got to cut that off. It's the same thing that they did over in Egypt when they would blow off the noses. You know what I'm saying? Now we're not Hamites. We're not giving them like no type of credit or nothing like that. But the white man's envy was that, wait a minute, black people built this. When I say black, I mean, I'm not talking about our people. We're not Africans. But the point is that anything that infringes on their insecurities, they have to destroy it, because they have to live with their substandard penis. They have to live with them being mediocre. Oh, I can't go on the sports field and on the football field and combat them on the field physically with physicality, but I can be an owner and trade players from team to team. Now I feel like I got some power. I can't get down there and compete with them, but I can make them compete. That's what it is. If you ever watched the show Spartacus, the I forget what they call it, the person that owned the gladiators and he would set up the fights in the Coliseum. He was usually a scrawny individual, scrawny man. He couldn't go head to head with the gladiators that he had in his service to go and die. This is what it is. This is what you see in sports. They look at us on the basketball courts. They look at us on the football field. They look at us in golf. They look at us in baseball, and they know they're superior. So what do they have to come up with? IQ. Right? Why do white men always emphasize IQ? They don't bring up the penis quotient, PQ. They're not bringing up PQ because they know they can't compete. And they really can't even compete in IQ either. That's just really, if you look at the history of the IQ test, it was based off of like racism. You understand? Because intelligence isn't just measured in the framework that they set up. There's many different dimensions of intelligence. You understand? A basketball player on a court playing with the team and the rhythm of bouncing the ball and passing the ball and taking positions and putting it in the hoop, that requires intelligence. You know what I'm saying? football, that requires intelligence. You understand? And this is what they know. They know that, the only thing that the white man ever really invented was the patent office. They know that all the inventions that black people made, they know all the accolades that we received and things that we invented, and like the sisters from that worked for NASA with Hidden Figures. They know our capabilities, that not only do we have high intelligence, but physically we are more powerful than them. And this is written in the scriptures. It'll be two manner of people, two nations in thy womb, and one shall be stronger than the other. And imagine that. The people that are actually stronger are trying to be equal with the people that are weaker. That's the problem. That's the problem. And you're never going to get any type of results out of that. What you end up doing is you end up, instead of preferring the person that is superior, that is your brother, your equal, you end up hating him, because you have to take on, in order for you to fit into the society, you have to take on the hatred of the people that rule the society, that hate your people. You have to internalize that. You don't know how many brothers I've seen lately saying, I don't like my people. I don't like my people. What they really don't like is that they don't like the position of our people in this society. But it just shows you that really that they're weak and that they're cowards. Because in the ISUPK, what we do is we are building our society. We're building a society where if my brother's great, I just say, hey, brother, you're great. And I know that I'm great. You understand? It's like, I can imagine what it would be to be among, like when I watch, like, I don't really watch like anime like that, but when I look at, sometimes I'll glance at like, Goku and all that, and it's the race of the Saiyans. They're like the superior race, and they all have this arrogance about them, right? And they don't try to be equal. They try to go and take over other planets. Whatever's in front of them, they want to dominate it. Or even if, I don't know if y'all are aware of it. It's a show called can't think of it now, but there's this anime on Prime Video, and it's dealing with the Viltrumites. It's the same thing. It's a race of beings that are superior. They're not trying to go to other planets with weaker beings and make be equal with them. They're going to put those planets in order and to rule over them. That's what Christ is. That's what Christ died for. He died for us to be able to gain our power. But the idea that we feel like it's like a sin, or it's like immoral to want to rule over another people. Well, it's crazy. The people that you want to love, the so-called oppressor, that he that's what he wants. He doesn't want equality with us. He wants to be supreme over us. He wants to rule over us. And they're showing you that. What do you think all the redistricting is and the gerrymandering is? What do you think Trump is doing in the White House with the Supreme Court and with the Department of Justice and with with everybody that's on the White House administration? He's making sure that everybody that is with him, there's no division, there's no discrepancy, there's no disagreement. We want power. We want America to be great again. And the only time that America was great is when we had the other people under our feet and we ruled over them. They understand that. And your God is trying to get you to understand that. And you rather fight God and go join with a people whose only mind is to have you under their feet. Real quick, Aga, if you could give me where if the salt has lost its savor. And you think that, you think that what I'm teaching is something different from Christ. Christ taught this. Christ taught Black, Latino, and Native Indian supremacy. He wanted us to know our value to the Most High. But in order for you to keep that inside of you, you have to retrain your mind, renew your mind. You have to walk around with the highest of self-esteem. Deuteronomy 7:6 should be on everybody's wall in their house. It should definitely be in your kids' room. Deuteronomy 7:6 should be in all of our children's room. As a matter of fact, before your kids go to school, you should have them quote Deuteronomy 7:6. So they're not affected by the pressure of equality. When the Most High spoke to Abraham, he said, walk before me and be perfect. Who else did God say that to? Who else did God speak to out of all the nations of the earth and make that statement to? He doesn't expect the other nations to be perfect because they can't be. Listen, do you understand what saying God loves everybody means? It means that God would have the same expectations on everybody else that he has with us, and he doesn't. The Israelites were given the command by our king to be perfect, even as your Father in heaven. Not the Chinese, not the Arab, not the Pacific Islanders, not the white man. You're so mad at. Why won't the white man be just? Why won't he do the right thing? How come he's setting up a fund for the people that were arrested from the Capitol 6 riots? Why won't he just give black people back their reparations? You're expecting something out of somebody that God doesn't even expect. God doesn't expect white men to be perfect. He don't expect them to be righteous or just. Why? Because the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He called them the wicked. What God has made crooked, who can make straight? The Lord has said these things. So let me tell you something. When you go into this whole social environment and you're trying to find a balance and equality, you're fighting against God. You're going against what God says. And Christ gave his life up for you to understand what Moses said back in Deuteronomy 7:6. Christ died for you. He gave his life to show you that this is possible. Let me ask a question to the chat. Did Christ sin? Did Christ ever sin? Did Christ ever break the law? Sis? No, he didn't. So Christ lived a life that was perfect. What does that mean? Christ believed in Black and Latino and Native Indian supremacy. Right. Because in order to be perfect, you would have to keep the law. In order to keep the law, that means that you had to live above everybody else. You lived a life that was above every other nation on the earth. That's what it means to be perfect. It means to be separate from every other race on the planet. It means blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians live a supremacist life. What they eat is supreme. Our dietary laws are the laws of a holy people. The things that we don't eat and we do eat is based on the fact that we are a superior people. The way that we treat each other, the laws of brotherhood, it makes us superior. It's our culture is the culture of a race of people that were born to rule. And when you go against that, when you smoke, when you do drugs, you understand? When you violate God's laws, all you're saying is that you're not fit for the kingdom. You're not fit for rulership. You're not fit to be royalty. You're really telling God, you made me for no reason. You see, y'all think that when Christ came to the fig tree and it had leaves and there was no fruit, did you ever ask yourself why did Christ curse the fig tree? He was looking for fruit and there was none there. He planted you, put you in the right environment, put you with enough sun, enough water, and you still ain't bearing nothing. All it is leaves. All it is talk. The Lord gonna deal with you about that because you're playing with him. The Lord don't care about, well, I'm trying and I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. The Lord, it's either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. That's it. And you think Christ died for you to play with the Lord? The Lord took the best of us and took his life to appease his anger at everything that we had done. All the contract that we had broke, the covenant that we disrespected. And you think that he's done that now? Christ has died, and you're gonna go and play with the Lord in his face because nobody's watching you? Listen, a person wanting to be an individual, to not wanting to be part of this nation and this family, or a woman that wants to be independent from a man, is just because she wants to be able to, or he wants to be able to go and live their life how they want when nobody's looking. But the problem is God is looking. The angels are looking. And when you come around, we can see it on you. It's not hidden from us what's actually going on. You're not fooling us. And even if you could fool us, you can't fool the Most High. You're really playing yourself. You're deceiving yourself. Go ahead and give me that.
Go on, Con. The book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 13. Ye are the salt of the earth. But if the salt have lost its savor.
This is Christ talking. This is in red, right?
Con,
read it from the top again.
Come on, Con. Ye are the salt of the earth.
Listen. Now, people say that Christ was for everybody. But he's talking to the Israelites, and he says, you are the salt of the earth. Of the earth? He didn't say you're the salt of Israel or you're the salt of the Middle East. He said you're the salt of the earth. He's telling you that you don't have a peer. He's teaching you Israelite supremacy. You're the salt of the earth. You're the thing that gives everything flavor. Salt wasn't just used to season. It was also used to preserve. If you wanted to store meat, we didn't have freezers and refrigerators. Salt was a tool to preserve things, to keep them in their condition. If you wanted to store meats and dry meats, you have to store it in salt. Salt was used to keep things in their pristine condition. He said, you're the salt. Why? Because God gave us the culture. God gave us the laws, and we were made to preserve it. But what? Keep reading.
Go on. But if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted?
If the salt has lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? You know what Christ is saying? If you've lost your culture, if you've lost your identity, then how are you going to rule? Wherewith, when he said, wherewith shall it be salted? What's the wherewith? Read again, and you tell me. Somebody in the chat tell me. Read it again.
Ye are the salt of the earth. But if the salt had lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted?
Wherewith it shall it be salted. What's the wherewith it? What's the it that's going to be salted?
How is the earth going to be salted?
Say it again, Ak.
How is the earth going to be salted?
How is the earth going to be salted? What the Lord is saying is that if you lose your savor, if you lose your identity, if you lose your culture, how are you going to rule the earth? Wherewith shall the earth be salted? How could you salt the earth? He's talking about rulership. He's talking about leadership. Keep reading.
Come. It is thenceforth good for nothing.
Good night. If a Black Latino Native Indian doesn't know their identity and their culture and that they are the chosen people of God, you're good for what?
Nothing.
You're good for nothing. You're good for nothing. If you don't accept your identity as being the chosen people of God, as being the race that God chose to rule over the planet, you're good for nothing. If you don't absorb that and embrace that, you're good for nothing, meaning that God can't use you. God doesn't have a use for you. If you're affected by peer pressure, the pressure of equality, God can't use you. If you have to go along to get along, God can't use you. You're useless. If you have to violate God's laws and be a servant to sin, then you're a slave and God can't use you. God is looking for rulers. He's not looking for people that are going to compromise their integrity. Keep reading.
Oh God. It is thenceforth good for nothing but to be cast out and to be trodden under the foot of men.
To be what?
To be trodden under foot of men.
You're good for nothing. You're only good to be stepped on. You're only good to be oppressed. You're only good to be ruled over.
Right.
That's what Christ is saying. Christ taught Israelite supremacy, Black, Latino, and Native Indian supremacy. He taught it. And the first step is recognizing who you are, that you're the salt of the earth, that you're the rulers of the earth. But if you lose the thing that makes you a ruler, that gives you power, then you're good for nothing. You're good for nothing. Salakia, let's get back to that Judges real quick.
So the book of Judges, chapter 2, verse 19.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass when the judge was dead
Mm-hmm.
that they returned and corrupted themselves more than their fathers in following other gods to serve them.
To serve them. When you put that crack pipe to your mouth, when you put that blunt to your mouth, when you put that cigarette to your mouth, when you sniff that line of coke, when you sniff that fentanyl, you're serving another power. When you dance on that stripper pole, you're serving another power. When you're not serving God, the only alternative is for you to corrupt yourself. There's no middle ground. Keep reading.
Come. In following other gods to serve them and to bow down unto them.
And to do what?
To bow down unto them.
For you brothers out there that are in the religion of Islam, the religion of the Ishmaelites, the children of Ishmael, when you get on that carpet and you bow down, you're bowing down to another god, man. You're putting your head down with your ass in the air, tooting that ass up in the air, head down, ass up, to another god. When you in that Christian church and you go before that wooden cross and you get on your knees, you're getting on your knees for another god. We don't pray on our knees. You got to stand up. We gird our loins like a man and present ourselves to our power. If you ignore your culture, if you ignore the thing that makes us holy, then the only choice for you is to corrupt yourselves. Keep reading.
They cease not from their own doings.
They what?
They cease not from their own doing.
Let me tell you something. You're doing yourself a disservice to be hearing the truth, and you don't cease or stop the things that offend God. You're really putting yourself in a bad position. You're playing with the Lord. You corrupt yourself, and the way that you corrupt yourself is you don't cease or stop the things that offend the Lord. You don't cease from your own doings. Keep reading.
Nor from their stubborn way.
From their what?
From their stubborn way.
Yeah, listen, Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, we're stubborn. A lot of us are stubborn. We don't think that we have a problem. We don't want to acknowledge the demons that we have, our addictions. We're stubborn. And you being hard-headed or having a hard heart and a stiff neck, you're going to corrupt yourself. And you're going to be good for nothing. Good for nothing. Keep reading.
Okay, verse 20. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel.
He was hot because just like a husband will be hot with a stubborn wife. A wife that's stubborn. It's going to get you hot. The Lord's hot because he's married to us. Nobody want to deal with a wife that don't want to listen. Because why? Listen, a wife that won't listen to her husband, she going to teach her children that.
Right.
And now you corrupt the entire family. And the Lord knows that if we don't listen as a nation, the whole earth is going to be what? Corrupted. If the salt has lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? If we lose what the thing that makes us holy, how can we make the earth what the Lord wanted to be on earth as it is in heaven? Keep reading.
Don't come. And he said, because that this people have transgressed my covenant, which I commanded their fathers, and have not hearkened unto my voice.
They don't follow the Lord. And if you're not following the Lord, the only thing that you could do is follow the other nations, the other people, a people that don't even matter to God. The Lord never said that the other nations were special unto him. He said we were. They don't even matter to him.
Right.
And that's the dynamic. That's the ill part, is that we are worried about them and they not worried about us, except for making sure that we don't rule. And then God is only concerned about us. God is not watching them. He's only watching us. The Most High, Christ, the angels, they're only looking at us. They're trying to see what we're going to do. That's why we go through trials. That's why we go through tests. Keep reading.
Come. And he said, Slakia, and have not hearkened unto my voice. 21. I also will not henceforth drive out any from before them of the nations which Joshua left when he died.
You want to know why the East Indian can come into your neighborhood and set up whatever businesses, the Arabs, the Chinese with their Chinese food stores, and sell you dog and cat and call it, General Tso's chicken, right? Or sweet and sour chicken, but it's really sweet and sour dog, sweet and sour poodle. You know why? Because we don't hearken unto the voice of the Lord. You know why? You can get pulled over by the police and a white man come out there, and even though you're on the way to work or you're coming home from work, and he can pull you out and unalive you, is because you don't hearken unto the word of the Lord. You know why you suffer from your addictions? And you're a slave to that blunt, you're a slave to that crack pipe, you're a slave to that fentanyl. It's because you don't hearken unto the voice of the Lord. It's because you're stubborn and you don't want to cease from your own doings. But really, they're not even your own doings. It's just the pressure of equality. You want to be like everybody else. You grew up and you never could just stand on your own and be different. You had to fit in. You worried about what everybody else thinks. I don't want to rock the boat. You lost your savor. You're salt, but you can't, you don't have no more flavor no more. So you're good for nothing. You're just a user. You know what I mean? It's whatever they have out here for you. There you go. You're gonna consume it, no matter what it is. The Lord say, don't eat that. I don't think the Lord care about what I put in my mouth. That's why you behind the dumpster blowing rod for an 8-ball, man or woman, because you don't have any integrity. A person that knows that they're chosen of God and they're to rule the planet, they're not bowing down to no man, to nobody. I wouldn't disgrace myself and my power. I'm an Israelite. I'm a son of God. I'm a son of the power. Keep reading.
Okay, verse 22. That through them I may prove Israel.
Through who?
That through them I may prove Israel.
See, who's the them? The them is the other races. They're only here to test us. I want to go ahead and see about Buddha. I want to go ahead and do some meditation, do some Tai Chi. Because I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. I'm gonna go over to China to the Buddhist temples and meditate over there and get those little bowls and and align my chakras. I'm not just limited to Christianity and to the Bible. Read again.
Okay. That through them I may prove Israel. whether they will keep the way of the Lord to walk therein, as their fathers did keep it, or not.
The Lord only has these other nations here to see and to test you to see if you're going to do what he said or you're going to do your own thing. That's it. This whole Republican, Democrat, this whole, voting and all this, it's a sin to vote. A vote got Christ killed. Christ was killed by a vote.
Right.
The white Pilate set Barabbas out there and set Christ out there and said, vote. Who do you want to, every year we release somebody, who do you want to get released? And they voted for Barabbas. A vote. Democracy got Christ killed. But you spending all your time going to college, getting a political science degree, right? You looking at Barack Obama, an African, and you feel like, oh yeah, he got to the White House. I can get into the White House too, or I can go make a change in my community by being a senator or being a representative in Congress. And your oppressor is gerrymandering and redistricting everything to where your vote ain't gonna count, and it never did. It never counted in the first place. But you didn't regard what the Lord said. Give me that. What is that? Deuteronomy 17, that you shouldn't set another man of another nation over you. You are sinning against God when you go to vote. Now you got that what's that devil's name? Gavin Newsom. He's out, he's on TV. This is straight up racism. And I thought I'd never see it in my day. What are you talking about? When did the racism stop? When did it become a new society and the racism ended? When did that happen? I never thought I'd see this again. Why not? It's the same people that was in power back in that was the children of the people doing Jim Crow. Why would it be any different? They act like slavery and Jim Crow was 1,000 years ago.
Right.
We have grandparents that lived through that. That lived through the laughing barrels. That they couldn't laugh in public and had to put their heads in barrels and laugh. What are you talking about? And a lot of you brothers out there and sisters, y'all saw Gavin Newsom, right? Some little Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise white man in California denouncing what Trump is doing. And what did you say to yourself? Well, I'm gonna vote for him. Go ahead and read that. Deuteronomy 17 and 15.
Okay. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17, verse 15. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose.
He said, thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom we vote for?
Whom the Lord thy God shall choose.
You can't set a ruler over you unless God chooses him. But you might say, well, God chose all the leaders. There's no power in the earth unless God chooses it. That's what y'all Christians say, right? Keep reading.
One from among thy brethren.
What?
One from among thy brethren.
Is Donald Trump among your brethren? What was the East Indian bitch? What was her name? Kamala Harris. Was she from among your brethren? Was Barack Obama from among your brethren? Who have you voted for in office in the White House that was from amongst your brethren?
Right.
But you know what you do have? You have the Jesse Jacksons, the Al Sharptons, right? The Cory Bookers, right? You had these black leaders, these Christian pastors that was telling you to go against God's law. That was causing you to lose your salt. Keep reading.
One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee.
You mayest not what?
Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee.
You're not allowed to vote for a person that's not of your nation to rule over you. And it's common sense. It's practical. A person of another nation is not going to be concerned about your people's issues. They're going to be concerned about their people's issues. Right. And usually they're going to use your people to ensure that their people have a better life. I just heard some information from an excellent sister that we were talking to yesterday, me and Captain Yatazak, and she told us that in Killeen, Texas, Killeen has been district or assigned as an area for crackheads and hoes. That it was the way that everything was structured, even with the building of the buildings of the city, it was just because this is where people go get their crack and where hoes go prostitute. And Killeen, Texas, we have the most taxpayers, but the taxes that come from Killeen, they go out to Belton. You know who lives in Belton? In majority, where Mary Hardin Baylor is located, the college, it's white people. They have their houses by the lakes. They have their land out there. And so when they want to build something new in Belton, they take the taxes from Killeen. Because all Killeen is good for is crackheads and hoes. This was a commissioner that told this sister this. That in terms of trying to gain some type of political influence would do nothing because it's already set up for this city to fail. Look at it like a dumpster. Like, okay, this is where we do our business at, and this is a dumpster to throw the trash in. That's Killeen to the leaders of this county. So you know what we're gonna do? We don't care about getting into rooms with people of power because guess what? We are the power. Our God is the power. What we're going to do is we're going to change our people and clean them up. We're going to clean them up. We're going to show them who their God is, and they're going to change their lives. And then the people that say that this is the area for crackheads and hoes, now what's your excuse? There's no crackheads or hoes here. Now the man of sin is going to be revealed.
Right.
Now we're going to know that you're the devil. But as long as you're a crackhead, as long as you're out here prostituting yourself, then you know the accuser of the brethren, which is our oppressor, he can accuse you before God. Well, I mean, look, she's smoking crack. I mean, why should we care about them? See, a person who is loved is dangerous. It's dangerous to try to do something to them. Why? Because they have people in a family that loves them. But a person that doesn't have any love, you know, they know that they can treat them any kind of way because nobody's coming to see about them. Nobody's going to defend them. So it's easy to handle a person that doesn't have any love or nobody cares about in a certain kind of way because there's no reprisals for it. There's no repercussions. But Commander Johnny Yohana loves blacks and Latinos in Killeen.
Right.
And in Cove and in Harker Heights and in Waco. He loves in Temple. He loves them. And we love them and God loves them. So while the political pundit, the political people of this city, while they don't care about our people, we're gonna love them. We're gonna give them that love, and we're gonna change their lives. We're gonna change their lives and give them an opportunity to clean themselves up. Because you know why? Once we clean our people up, then now what you're doing to our people, to God's people, now God is going to require it from you. But while our people are in this condition and they're sinning against God, God can't give them protection. He can't. God can't protect you when you're sinning. Anything's liable to happen. You play with that oil on your head, anything's liable to happen. Anything. So you should stop gambling. You should stop going to Vegas and throwing the dice with the Lord. You should get serious or don't get serious and find out, you know, like how you did in your last life. And you just come back as a baby and have to try again, if that's even possible. Just read the last part of that verse again, Salakia.
Come. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother.
Listen, a stranger, an East Indian, this is letting you know in the law that other races are not our brother. Why do Latinos and so-called blacks and Native Indians, why do we walk around and say, hey, brother, hey, sister? Why do we do that? Because we know that we're family. We know that we're family. We cannot set somebody over us to rule over us that's not our brother, that's not from our tribes. It's a sin against God. This is a commandment. And Christ knew that. And what situation did Christ come into? He's in Rome where the Pharisees and the Sadducees have a seat with the Romans. They're going to Pilate and saying, yeah, we'll keep things peaceful. We'll keep the people in check. But you know what the Pharisees were not doing? They were not teaching the people. They were not teaching their people to not sin. They weren't. They were using the law to hurt the people as a threat mechanism. Give me that with the woman caught in the act of adultery. Give me that. The Pharisees were definitely trying to get their back end from the Romans, whatever deals they had set up. You couldn't just go and learn the law like that. You had to have money to go learn letters. It was called learning letters. It's like going to college. You had to have finances for that. Your family had to have wealth for that. This is why the Peter and the disciples, when they were prophesying in the book of Acts, the people were like, how do these men know all this? They don't know the letters, meaning that they don't have a degree. They don't have a college degree. They haven't been formally educated. How are they able to speak with such boldness and authority, with the knowledge of the Bible? The reason why the Pharisees had the money to set up these schools to so-called study the Torah, right? And to build and to have these synagogues was because they had a seat with the Romans. Just like your Christian pastors have a seat with the American government. Every time it's a national day of prayer, right? Or Trump or the president invites a certain number of religious leaders to the White House, what do? They have a public photo op where they stand over the president with their hands on them, praying to God for God to bless them. They don't want to lose their seats. And how do they keep their seats? Well, in their churches, when it's election time, they're talking to their congregation about who they should vote for. Right. That's how they keep their seats. That's how they keep their funding. How they keep their 501c3 in good standing. But when you got somebody coming to tell the people, listen, the people that are in rulership, they're not supposed to be ruling. And the way for you to rule is for you to come back to this love, come back to keeping these commandments and to loving your people. Well, that's revolutionary. And they were afraid of Christ because of that. Give me that too. If all men believe on him. But we're going to read this first, but give me that too.
Okay.
And if you watching the class, please like the class and share it, Baba Kushar, if you could. If you could just help your brother out, you know what I'm saying? Your brother Tapazar out. I appreciate it.
Let me read this real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
The book of John, chapter 8 and verse 3. And the scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, verse 4, they say unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act.
Now think about this, right? The woman was caught in adultery. They knew where she was at.
Right.
Why was she so comfortable with doing this? If the Pharisees and Sadducees were teaching the law and teaching what we should not do, why was she so comfortable with doing this? People are comfortable with sinning against God when the leaders are. Keep reading.
Verse 5. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what sayest thou?
So that listen, they don't care about this woman being taught that what she's doing is wrong and to change her life. They're testing Christ to see if he has the authority to teach what he's teaching, because the law says for her to be killed. They're using this woman who is caught up in a life that God hates, and they don't care about her life and her changing her life. All they care about is using her as a prop to try to get people to not follow Christ. Because why? They don't want to lose their seat. Keep reading.
Okay, verse 6. This they said, tempted him that they might have to accuse him.
Because they had the spirit of the white man in them. The white man is called the accuser of the brethren, right? When you see somebody that's always trying to accuse somebody of something, right? They're always trying to, they're not trying to teach the person, right? Sometimes people just don't know. They don't know what they should be doing or how to do it. Now, you got some people that you've taught them and they do know, and they just want to act like they don't know because they think that that's going to fool God or fool the people, or the fool the leadership, the leaders. You understand? The people that have been given the assignment to teach the people, right? But you got some people that genuinely do not know. They don't know because they were raised in a household where their uncle had Playboys in a box in a cardboard box in the basement or in the attic. And they saw their uncles watching, or they saw their uncles saying, "Hey, you want to be a real man? Go out there and sleep with this woman and sleep with that woman and throw her away." They don't know no better. They don't know that sex is marriage. Some women, they've been touched when they were little girls or molested, or they just felt like they didn't have a daddy and they wanted some attention, and they went out there and gave their body to a man. And when he threw her away, she went to go look for another man and try to fill that void. And she grew up to become a hoe. Now, is being a hoe okay? No, it's not. But the compassion is to see if this person, do they want to change their lives? Do they want to continue in this in doing their own thing? Or do they need to be taught and shown another way? So these Pharisees weren't bringing this woman to Christ out of righteousness. And this is what it means that they were, that there's no, what is it? That righteousness doesn't come by the law. What does that mean? Righteousness is you doing what God wants you to do. But in order for you to be righteous, you have to be what? Somebody in the chat. For people to see righteousness, or for you to be righteous, you have to be what? Go ahead and speak. No. That's not the answer. Kargazai, anybody in the chat? For you to be righteous, what do you have to be?
Don't see anything in the chat, but perfect.
I mean, yeah, but what do you have to be perfect? Anybody? It's right under your nose. That's true, but that's not the answer. Okay, I'm gonna help y'all out. You have to be alive. You can't be dead and be righteous.
Right.
They're bringing this woman to Christ to say, Moses said to stone her. If she gets stoned, she has to die. You can't show the righteousness of God if you're dead. You have to be alive and breathing. That's why David said, let me live that I might behold the works of God in the land of the living. He prayed for God not to take his spirit from him and that he could live. Because the only way to serve God is if you're alive. How can you serve God from the grave? What glory does God get out of that if you're dead? You have to be alive to serve God. And they were using the law only to put people to death. That's why righteousness doesn't come by the law. Righteousness doesn't come by the law. What he's saying, what Paul is saying is that righteousness doesn't come by you being killed as a punishment for breaking the law. Righteousness doesn't come by that. Righteousness comes from mercy and truth. Why does righteousness come from mercy and truth? Because if you don't know any better, right, and you're out there doing something that should result in you dying, how could you become righteous? The only way that you could become righteous is that somebody shows you mercy, right, and gives you what? The truth. To give you what? Grace. An opportunity to change your life. But that's not what the Pharisees were concerned about. They were concerned about maintaining their power by having the power to put people to death for the very things that they were doing themselves. It's like police officers. It's like crooked cops. They'll arrest drug dealers and they'll feel like they're doing their job as police officers and feel like I'm doing a good job. I'm a good cop. I'm in this neighborhood and I'm fighting drug dealers and I'm arresting drug dealers. But then what are they also doing? They're taking the money from the drug dealers and they're splitting it up amongst themselves. And they're taking the drugs and they're selling them back to the drug dealers. So the very thing that they're supposed to be stopping and fighting, they're participating in, but because they have the power to arrest drug dealers, they feel what? Like they're the authority. They're righteous. They're good cops. When really you're corrupt cops. You're crooked cops. The IRS will arrest you for tax evasion, right? But the people that are in power, in political power, they're doing that all the time. And the IRS is not arresting them, right? But the IRS feels righteous when they tell you need to pay your taxes, and you should. But you're using you're using that same power to not arrest people that don't pay their taxes. It's selective. You understand? And that's the spirit of the white man. The spirit of the white man will accuse you while he's doing the same thing. Listen, there was a story, I believe in, I think it was like in Connecticut or somewhere up in the Northeast, where there was a judge, there was a fire marshal or something like a fire chief that was had CSM material. That means child sexual material on his laptop. He had terabytes of it, right? So he got brought before this judge, and the judge let him go. He gave him probation. And everybody was like, what are you doing? He had all this, he had videos and images of children that were being sexually assaulted by adults, right? He let the fire chief go. Come to find out, they investigated the judge, and the judge had a laptop with terabytes of the same child sexual material. Now, had that been anybody, had that been any other, had that been a black or Latino standing before him, he would have gave them life. Right? He'd have sent them straight to prison. But this is what the Pharisees were doing. These were black and Latino men in rulership over Israel, but they had the spirit of their oppressor, which was to pick and choose. When Christ was coming to heal the people, to free the people. You understand? Keep reading. Salakia.
Go. This they said, tempting him, that they might have to excuse him. But Yahushua stooped down and with his finger wrote on the ground, right, as though he heard them not. Verse 7. So when they continued asking him, they
didn't leave it alone. They were pressing him about it. The law says to kill her. What you say? He's just quiet right on the ground. Oh, I mean, what, you don't keep Moses' law? You don't follow the law? Right? Go ahead.
So when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, he that is without sin among you, let him first cast the stone at her.
Right. If any of you are perfect, go ahead and kill her. What did Christ know? What did Christ know that they all deep down knew but didn't realize till he said it? What did Christ know?
Amen.
Go ahead, sis. Well, what Christ knew was he was in this entire conversation with this woman sitting here, right? She was caught in the act, which means they had just caught her bouncing on like a pogo stick on a rod. They snatched her about the house. She's all wet, you know what I'm saying, and just was getting ran through, and she's laying there just embarrassed, right? And Christ is sitting there looking at her, he's looking at them. What Christ knew was, out of everybody there, he was the only person that cared about being perfect. But the people that were accusing her, they knew the requirement of being perfect. She may not have knew. Why? Because these are the people that were ruling over her. If you got people that are wicked and corrupt ruling over you, how can you know what perfect is? You would have to have somebody who is perfect to know that you can be perfect. That's why Christ lived and died, to show us that we can, even unto death, be perfect. There's no excuse to not be perfect. There's no excuse to not be the salt of the earth. There's no excuse to not be a ruler. There's no excuse to deny God and saying that we're not special and we're not holy. There's no excuse. But everybody don't know that. And what Christ was trying to do was to show them you're not fit to lead. You're not fit to judge anything. And if you are, then cast the first stone. Because in order for you to judge anything, you have to be what? Kazar?
To be a judge, to be perfect.
You have to be perfect. You got to be perfect. And what it said in Judges was that when the judge died, the people went and corrupted themselves. But see, the judge being perfect, it doesn't mean that he says, I'm going to take your life. The judge being perfect is, I'm going to judge myself because I'm going to serve God. I'm not going to violate God's law, and I'm going to show you that it's possible. That's how I judge you, by me judging myself. I don't take your life. I don't call you a whore, even though you might be a whore. I just show you that by my example, you don't have an excuse. Which is why the Christian church teaches that nobody can be perfect. Because now, if we say that nobody can be perfect, that only God is perfect, only Christ was perfect, and we can't, that's why he died, because we can't be perfect. If we teach that, then everybody has a what? Say it into the mic. Everybody has an excuse. But in the ISUPK, it's no excuses. So if you're without sin, cast the first stone. Read.
Verse 8. And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground. Verse 9. And they which heard it, being convicted by their own conscience.
By their what?
By their own conscience.
By their own conscience convicted them. Because they're sitting in power. Pilate doesn't care if the Pharisees are sinning. How do they know about this woman? Because some of them probably have been up in her house too. He's saying if none of y'all have committed this sin that's worthy of death, then cast the first stone. When Christ said, if you're without sin, what he was saying was, if you're not guilty of this, then take your life.
Good night.
Because there's a sin that you can commit that's not unto death. Right? That's what it's saying in 1 John. It say, if you have a brother who has not committed a sin unto death, pray for him. So there are some sins that are not unto death. Some just require a fine. But this sin required death. So he said, if any of you are without the sin that requires death, go ahead and take your life. If you haven't committed anything that requires your death, then go ahead and take her life then. And they were convicted by their own conscience. Go ahead.
Went out one by one, beginning at the eldest, even unto the last.
Beginning at the eldest. That's kind of heavy. I'm an elder, because they knew. They had been sinning for a long time. And see, when the young people that were being taught by them, the young Pharisees that were watching them, when they saw them leave, they lost the courage to even do anything. It's like, dang, they leaving, so we got to go too then. Because they all, what it means, it says from the eldest to the last, the whole group that came to challenge Christ, all of them had done it. They all were guilty of that sin. So how could she even change her life when the people that are supposed to be in charge showing her what not to do, right? They're doing it too. Keep reading.
God, sir. And Yahushua was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. Verse 10. When Yahushua had lifted up himself, and saw no one but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where are those thine accusers?
Where did your accusers go? Remember, the white man is called the accuser of the brethren. Where did your accusers go? Right?
Hath no man condemned thee?
When people say all the time, don't judge me, right? Judgment results in condemnation. Condemnation means that you're going to lose your life. Has no man condemned you? When you go before a judge and they say that, you're getting the death penalty, you've been condemned.
Right.
You've been condemned because you're going to die. If you're a child molester and the judge gives you, 30 years and they put you in general population, you've been condemned.
Good night.
Because what do we know? The people that are in prison, they were most likely molested, and they're going to make sure that they take your life. Why? Because they know what happened to them when they were kids, and they're going to make sure that you never do that again. So you've been condemned. So to be judged, hey, don't judge me. Only God can judge me. You're right. God can judge you. God can take your life for you violating his laws. He can do that. But the judgment that we're talking about, us telling you that the behavior that you're doing is against God, that's not judging you. That's judging what you're doing. But if we were judging you, we would take you for smoking weed or smoking crack and come and put you to death, because that's called witchcraft in the Bible. See, you think I'm just doing my little drugs because I'm self-medicating, and we have mercy on that. But to the Lord, you're doing witchcraft. You're doing sorcery. The scriptures say that let no witch live. The penalty for selling drugs and doing drugs was death. So us saying for you to stop doing what can get you killed is not condemning you. We're not judging you. We're telling you, we're meeting you with mercy and truth so that you could change and be righteous. But like I said, if you're dead from ODing, right, or if you're dead because you get hurt in a drug deal gone bad, then you can never know what it means to be righteous. And what are you looking from God for? You hoping God just shows you what? Mercy when you're dead? How can the dead receive mercy? What mercy can they get? You're dead.
Right.
I know the Christian pastor in the sweet by and by, when you get to heaven, God will show you mercy, even though because we all sin. Well, the wages of sin is death. So you got what you were supposed to get. You got the check that you were working for. What we're trying to tell you to do is to resign from your job, resign from your works. Come and work for God. Come and serve God. Where the wages of serving God is life. Keep reading.
Go on, verse 11. She said, "No man, Lord." And Yahushua said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more.
Right. They didn't condemn you, and neither do I. The only one that had the right to take her life was Christ, because he was perfect. And in him being perfect, he didn't require her to die physically. He wanted her to die spiritually, to go and sin no more, to be born again, to become something different. Stop doing the thing that's going to cause your death and live. Really what he was saying when he says go and sin no more, he's saying go and live. Live the life that the Lord wants you to live. Was you holding something else for me?
John 11 and
yeah. But yeah, the Pharisees were, and like your religious leaders, your church leaders, they're invested in you not being taught to not sin. They're invested in that because they can keep their position with the oppressor, with those in power. Go ahead.
come. It's the book of John chapter 11.
Actually, go up some, go back to the chapter. Go up. Come down. Just read from 44 down.
Okay. The book of John chapter 11 verse 44. And he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot with grave cloths, and his face was bound about with a napkin.
Right. So this is when Christ went and healed his friend Lazarus. He that was dead came forth, meaning that the person that everybody thought was dead, he came back to life. This was like a great miracle that Yahushua did. You understand? Go ahead.
Yahushua said unto them, Loose him and let him go.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 45. Then many of the Jews which came to Mary and had seen the things which Yahushua did believed on him.
When they saw what Jesus did, when they saw what Yahushua did, what Christ did, they believed on Christ. So if they believed on Christ, what did they believe before that? What were they believing on before they believed on Christ? The Pharisees, the law, the police. They were being taught by hypocrites. So if you're taught by a hypocrite, you're going to become a hypocrite. If you're taught by somebody who says you can't be perfect, then you'll never be perfect. But now when they saw the power that Christ had, they believed on him. And if I'm a hypocrite and I'm in power, I don't want the people that give me the respect of my authority to believe on someone who actually is doing the damn thing. I'm losing followers. I'm losing money. I'm losing my capital with the people, my political capital. And not only that, if I don't have the power to influence the people, then now the people that put me in power are going to be like, well, you're good for nothing. The only value you had was that you kept the people under our thumb. But if you can't do that, then you're good for nothing. Christ was coming to put inside of the people that we are to keep our culture, and God will go to war against the people that rule over us to put us back in power. That's what Christ was teaching. The Pharisees wanted to keep things going as they were, like your current political leaders that are still trying to fight for the right to vote with all this gerrymandering and redistricting. They're still trying to convince black people to violate God's laws so they don't lose their power, lose their seats. Whether it's them fighting to get Democratic votes or Republican votes, look, it's the same oppressor at the top of the chain, at the top of the pyramid. Keep reading.
Okay. Verse 46. But some of them went their ways to the Pharisees.
Some of them went their way to the Pharisees. Why? You had those that believed, and I asked you, if they didn't believe on Christ, who do they believe on? The Pharisees. Right. So some of them that saw this miracle, they went to the Pharisees. Because why? That's who they believed on. Some of us here is teaching on the corners, and they come to class. They tune into to General Mahaiman. They ask about Commander General Yohana. They come to us, and they believe, and they come to class. Others they hear us teach, they go to their Christian pastor, and they're like, hey, they're out here saying this and the third. Is this true? I mean, we saw them. The person, she was on drugs. She just changed her life and quit doing drugs. Do y'all? How come? What's going on with y'all? This is what they're over there doing. They're changing people that were dead and giving them life. The dead are coming forth. Within our 1 block radius, there's at least 8 churches. And you know what's going on out here? Prostitution, drug dealing, and drug using. With all these churches. But then here in the ISUPK, a person that's on drugs comes in here, a person that's a prostitute comes in here, and they stop prostituting. They stop doing drugs. They really changed their life. What do you think happens to the Christian pastors when they hear about that? What the ISUPK is actually doing for black families and Latino families and Native Indian families, getting them off of alcoholism. You stop them from murdering each other. The Christian church don't want to hear that. The leadership don't want to hear that. Because why? Now they're losing followers. Now they can't go to the White House and be like, yeah, I got a congregation of about 30,000 people. That's like 30,000 votes. What's some kickbacks you can give me? I can raise about a donation about $200,000 for your CPAC to make sure that you get in office next time. Those are the conversations that are happening behind closed doors. While you sitting there believing, well, doesn't God love everybody? Keep reading, Salaki.
Okay. And told them what things Yahushua had done.
Right. That's what happens. People come see us in the works that we do under Commander General Yohana, and they run back to their Christian pastors and tell them what we're doing. How the white man is kissing our boots, kissing our feet. How we're out here feeding feeding our people that are homeless, feeding the hungry, clothing those that are naked. They see our works. And they run back and tell the pastor why, because they're not doing it. They're collecting tithes to make sure that they can get that Rolls Royce payment in on time. That they can pay for that 10-bedroom mansion. Keep reading.
Come, verse 47. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, what do we? For this man doeth many miracles.
They're out here changing people's lives. They're bringing the dead back to life. Keep reading.
Verse 48. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him.
If we leave him alone, if we don't stop this, what's happening, then everybody's going to believe on him. A true leader. Keep reading.
And the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation.
Listen, their first concern wasn't even the nation being harmed. It was them losing their place. They'll take away our place and the nation. We won't be a people. This is what a lot of your black politicians and black Christian leaders think. They think that if we don't believe on a white Jesus and a white Christ, that we'll be destroyed here in America. Because this is an American Christian nation. And if we don't conform to their world, then we're not going to have a world to live in. But Christ said that the kingdom of God is within you. The world of Israel is amongst us. It's the world that we build from the ground up. How? By loving one another, by loving our neighbor, the children of our people as ourselves, and by keeping all of God's laws and adhering to his feast days, adhering to the culture that he gave us. That's how we build our world while their world is falling apart. And what you don't know is that as we build our world, listen, the rate of the white man's world falling apart is based on the rate of us building our world. As we build God's kingdom, their kingdom has to fall simultaneously. But if we are not, if we're still investing in their kingdom, and then our world is slower to come into manifestation. That's why we have to gather ourselves together. O nation not desired, yea, gather yourselves together before the great and terrible day of the Lord, before the return of Christ. The faster that we gather ourselves together and build our world, well, that's how fast you'll see their world fall. You'll see Babylon fall. Because these nations don't have any, they're only real in the sense that we give them reality. They're only a reality in the sense that we believe in their reality. These nations don't have, they have no significance to the Most High. If we believe in each other, if we believe in the kingdom that's in each other, the kingdom of heaven, our world, then their world falls. Because it's only a hologram anyway. We're just living in the white man's imagination when we should be living in the Lord's imagination, the Most High's imagination,
right? Which
is us in power. Is that it? That's it on them. Can you drop that? Where were you at on Judges? Were you already in 3, or you were still reading from chapter 2?
Judges. I think we still in chapter 2.
All right, go ahead. So where it said they were a test, that the other nations were just a test. You want to know why people say all the time, well, if God doesn't love everybody, then why did he make all these different races? I'm going to tell you why.
It's the book of Judges, chapter 2 and verse 22. That through them I may prove Israel.
The only reason why these other races are here is to prove us, to test us. Keep reading.
Whether they will keep the way of the Lord to walk therein, as their fathers did keep it, or not.
Like, are you going to do what the Lord said to do, or are you not going to do it? Keep reading.
Verse 23. Therefore the Lord left those nations without driving them out hastily. Neither delivered he them into the hand of Joshua.
Right. The Lord left them there because he wanted to see what was inside of us. He wanted to see if we were going to keep God's commandments in the midst of other nations, in the midst of all the trees of the garden. Would we only eat from the tree of life?
Right.
Keep going.
It's the book of Judges, chapter 3, verse 1. Now these are the nations which the Lord left to prove Israel by them, even as many of Israel as had not known all the wars of Canaan.
Right. The Lord was trying to test and see were we going to keep God's culture, the culture that he gave us, or are we going to be affected by the pressure of equality and wanting to be like everybody else? We've always dealt with that. It's like the heathens are dealing with the insecurity because they know that we're God's chosen people, but then we're insecure about what they have. Give me that in 1 Samuel where it says they asked for a king. We're always trying to be like the other nations instead of being the nation that God wants every other nation to envy. God wants the other nations to look at us and be like, damn, I want to be like them. Or I want to be ruled by them. I want to be like it's not for us to look at white people and be like, we should, look how white people do stuff. We should do it like them. That's like, it's when you say that, you're offending the Lord. When you talk about how, well, this is how the East Indians do it. This is how the Chinese do it. This is how the Africans do it. You're offending the Lord because they're all supposed to be looking at us and saying that, not us looking at them and saying that. I think it says, give us a king. Salaki, y'all bear with us. You got it?
I got it.
Okay, Most High in Christ.
This is the book of
Start at verse 4. So right now, the people of Israel, we had judges. We had people that just said, that just gave the counsel, like, this is what the Lord wants us to do. This is what the Lord don't want us to do. Nobody necessarily you didn't have to necessarily answer to a particular person. You just had to keep God's laws and and love your brother and be part of the nation, right? We didn't have a king over us. All we had was judges, people counselors, people that went and fought battles for us, on our behalf. But outside of that, if whatever land you had, whatever crops you had, you would bring what you needed to bring your tithes to the temple and to the priest. But you just lived your life. You didn't have nobody directly ruling over you. We operated as a family. We just had the judges to judge matters, right? We can read.
It's the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 8, verse 4. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Ramah.
Because Samuel was a judge. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And said unto him, Behold, thou art old. And
Good night. This is what's the saying? Yeah, man, y'all old, man. Y'all know what's going on with this new generation. We always acting like what's old ain't relevant. A lot of you young officers, y'all gotta be careful with that. This whole old new thing. There's nothing new under the sun. You're not even new. Be easy with that. Keep reading.
Okay. Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations.
See, what's so heavy is that they said your sons don't walk in your ways, as if the Lord couldn't choose somebody. See, Samuel got chosen. Samuel wasn't in the line of the priests. Eli had sons, and his sons were not doing the ways of the Lord, and the Lord raised up somebody to take Eli's place and got rid of his sons. So even that statement saying thy sons walk not in thy ways, what does it have to do with who the Lord chooses to judge y'all? The Lord will raise somebody up. But see, now we feel like we're telling the Lord that we know better. We know what we need. We know we know who we want to lead us. It ain't no difference than when we were in the wilderness and we told Aaron to make us a golden calf, to choose a God to lead us. Why? Because you want a golden calf, because the golden calf ain't gonna tell you to stop sleeping with your brother's wife. The golden calf ain't gonna tell you that to not be a witch, to be a drug dealer. The golden calf ain't gonna tell you to stop eating pork. So yeah, you want to have an idol to worship because why? The idol ain't gonna check you. It ain't gonna correct you for your wicked behavior. But the living God will. So now, what are they asking for right here? They're asking for a democratic process. They want to have a leader that they want. Keep reading.
Okay. Verse 6. But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, Give us a king to judge us.
They wanted a king, because why do they want a king? Keep reading.
And Samuel prayed unto the Lord. 7. And the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto thee. For they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them.
When you reject the voice of the prophets, when you go against what the prophets tell you, you're not rejecting us. You're rejecting the Most High because you don't want God to rule over you. Did it already say that they want to be like the other nations?
No, sir.
Go back to that. I'm sorry, Salaki. Kind of skipped over that.
Book of 1 Samuel chapter 8, verse 5.
Uh-huh.
And said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations.
Right. That's what we were dealing with at this time was the pressure of equality. We wanted to be like the other nations. We didn't want to be holy unto the Lord. We didn't want to be special unto the Lord. We didn't want to be a chosen people above all people that are upon the face of the earth. We wanted to be like the other nations. We wanted equality. We were affected by peer pressure. We wanted to be equal. When you go to that voting booth and you go in here and try to fight politically to try to help black people and to help our condition, it's no different than this right here. You want to be like the other nations. You want a king of the other nations to rule over you, not God. But when we tell you that voting is a sin, when we tell you that trying to get involved in this political process is not what the Lord wants, and you tell us, nah, the next scripture, this is really how the Lord sees it. And we get upset. We're like, dang, man, we just telling you what God say. And the Lord like, don't get upset about it. Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 7. And the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people and all that they say unto thee.
Right. You want to go ahead and vote? You want to go ahead and do it? Go ahead and vote. No sweat. Do what you want to do. Go ahead.
For they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them.
When you go vote for Trump or whoever, Gavin Newsom or whoever's going to be running in the Democratic Party, whatever like that, we got to choose the lesser two evils. All right, fine. You're not rejecting Commander General Yohana. You're rejecting the Most High in Christ. That's who you're rejecting. When you don't take heed to the counsel of the prophets, you're not rejecting us. We're just telling you what God said to tell you. We're only saying what God said. You're rejecting the Most High. Because you're affected by peer pressure. Well, sheep are made to follow. But it's a difference when you don't have no good leadership. Christ looked at the people and had compassion. He had mercy. He saw the sheep that were scattered having no shepherd. Give me that saying your teachers will not be hidden in the corner anymore. Give me that. But you can't use that excuse now. You can't use the excuse that all the Christian pastors were corrupted and we couldn't see we didn't have no leaders doing the right thing. In the ISUPK, Commander General Yohana is raising perfect men, perfect women, perfect children. There's a place of refuge. There's a place of safety now where you can be in an environment where there is no excuses, where the standard is perfection, where the salt is not losing its savor, and we're salting the earth. Everywhere where our people are being stepped on, where our people are being oppressed, we're spreading salt. We're casting salt. And what's the salt, man? The salt is God's chosen people living according to their culture and living according to the truth, man. Go ahead.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 19. For the people shall dwell in Zion at Jerusalem.
Uh-huh.
Thou shalt weep no more.
Uh-huh.
He will be very gracious unto thee at the voice of thy cry.
Yeah, the Lord hears the cries of our people when we're in distress because of the oppression of our oppressor, right? And he gives us an opportunity to do what? To change. But listen, you gotta take heed to what's being said. Keep reading.
Gonna come. When he shall hear it, he will answer thee.
Uh-huh.
Verse 20. And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity.
Even though you're going through all this pain and this suffering, you know what I'm saying, all this racism and white supremacy, right? And it seems like, with the gerrymandering and the redistricting and the elimination of DEI, right? All the military leaders that were, that Black and Latino being kicked up out the military by Peter Hegseth, it looks like we're losing. But the truth of the matter is that we're gaining. Listen, if you get removed from the white man's kingdom, then you should be running to what? Your kingdom.
Right.
You should be, the Bible says in Isaiah that every man will go into his own people. Every man will return to his own people. That's what's happening. Is nation rising against nation? This is what Christ prophesied. So even though he give you the bread of adversity, even though you're going through this difficulty, keep reading.
And the waters of affliction.
You're having to drink the fact that they're cutting down on the TANF and they're cutting down on the SNAP and the food stamps. You know, right now when you have your kids after 7 or 8 years old, you don't get no more credit and food stamps for them now, based on their new laws. That's the water of affliction. We're living off of bread and water. This is the basics, basic necessities. The Lord's given us the bread of affliction. Even the things that are our basic necessities, we're having to get them in adversity. Right? Bread and water are the basics to live. Right? But the Lord, even our basic necessities, we're having difficulty in getting that. We're getting in adversity and affliction. Keep reading.
Yet shall not thy teachers be Yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore.
Right. Your teachers are not hidden up in the churches anymore. The doors of the church are closed. Your teachers aren't hidden anymore. They're in the streets on them corners, and you're calling them crazy Power Rangers doing cosplay. The help that God is giving you, you're mocking his messengers. You're misusing them. You should be using them for counsel. You should be using them to change your life, to get God's protection. We're not hidden in the corner. The Lord tells us to go out into the public marketplaces and by the waterways and set up the pulpit of wood. That's what camp is. Camp is not an organization. Camp is a military operation where the prophets of God, on the orders of the Most High in Christ, go out and teach our people amongst all nations the good news, which is what? That the end of the world is Esau, and the beginning of that which follows is Jacob. That the man of sin is being revealed. And he's going to be consumed by the fire of our King's mouth, man. He's going to be consumed. Listen, our words, the words of the prophets is what's tearing this kingdom down. Why? Because those that hear the words of the prophets and they change their lives, you're building the kingdom of heaven. You're building it. Because where is it at? It's inside of you. It's inside of every Black, Latino, and Native Indian man and woman and child. And if we build it there, then maybe the Most High will have mercy and send our King to come and save us from the hands of them that hate us. Right? So like you keep reading.
Oh God. But thine eyes shall see thy teachers.
I think that's it. No, go ahead. Yep.
Verse 21. And thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying.
Hold on. What's the word that you're gonna hear behind you? You heading to the mall. You heading to the mall. You going with your family. You hear a word behind you. Why? Because you hear us at camp raising our voice as a trumpet, lifting up our voice as a trumpet and telling our people what their sins are, where you're violating God's laws, where you're offending the Most High, to where you don't have his protection. That's the word you're hearing behind you, because you walking by, you ain't thinking about us on this corner or in Freedom Circle in at the Alamo or in Times Square. You off to go do something else. You celebrate Memorial Day. You going to the museum. You going to the zoo. You going to the park. And you hear a word behind you saying what?
Saying, this is the way, walk ye in it.
Uh-huh.
When ye turn to the right hand and when ye turn to the left.
So people be going on the crosswalks, you know what I'm saying? They turn to the right, to the left, and we dead smack in the middle. Saying what? This is the way that you should walk in. Go ahead. You can go ahead.
Go. Verse 22. Ye shall defile also the covering of thy graven images of silver.
Yeah, that's why we put the image of Cesare Borgia, or who the world thinks is Christ, the image of white Jesus, on the floor to step on, for you to come before the camp and defile it. Why? Because when you destroy that false image in your mind of white supremacy, now and you know that Christ was a black man, you defiling that image gives you the power to serve your king and your God. Keep going.
Okay. And the ornament of thy molten images of gold.
A lot of times people come before the camp and they'll have earrings with crosses or necklaces with crosses, and we tell them that's an idol, and they didn't know. They thought that they thought the cross protected them, and they take it off and they throw it away. Why? When they hear the word from behind them, they hear the truth. Go ahead.
Thou shalt cast them away as a minstrel's cloth.
It's the same way a sister on her flower throws away her pad or her tampon. That's how you'll throw away the image of that cross, or you'll throw away whatever it is that the Muslims wear. You know what I'm saying? I think they be having like the little the Arabic word of that dumb rock, Allah, right? You'll toss that away like a tampon or a maxi pad. You get it away from you because that it's an abomination. Keep reading.
Thou shalt say unto it, get thee hence.
Right. When you hear the truth of the prophets, you know what I mean? The truth of the Most High in Christ, that the only God that we're supposed to serve is the Most High, you'll get rid of it. Is there any more? Go ahead. Yep.
So verse 23. Then shall he give the rain of thy seed.
Right. So all the effort that you're putting into to your life, trying to get your life in order, he'll give rain. Now you'll have the Lord's protection. He'll give rain to what you're investing in, right? Because now the Bible says, for where thy treasure is, there shall thy heart be also. Now you know I need to be paying my tithes to Command General Yohana. Now I want to invest in the work of the Lord. Now I want to put all my energy towards this, what I've just learned about the kingdom and raising up our people. I want to put everything I have into that. The Lord will add to that. Keep reading.
Don't come. That thou shalt sow the ground withal. And bread of the increase of the earth.
What's the bread of the increase of the earth, man? What did Christ say? That the harvest is plenty, but what? The laborers are few. When you stop serving other gods and you find out who your God is, now you work for God. Now you become a laborer. Now you get increase. Now the kingdom grows. Because now you're not just hearing the word, now you're doing it. You're not just hearing about the Bible, now you're living it. And you being an example, you being perfect, now somebody else watches how you live, right? And they say, man, what made you change that? Now they want to change their lives. And that's the increase of the bread of the earth, man. Keep reading.
And it shall be fat and plenteous. And the day shall thy cattle feed in large pastures. Meaning that all that means is that the cattle is just talking about the flocks, it's talking about the people. It's like a Passover when General Hyman is teaching the scripture breakdown, and now it's a large amount of people that are feeding on the truth. You understand? Is any more on that? I think that might be it. Yeah, that's it. Go ahead and drop that, man. It was something else. Did I have you holding anything? You had First Maccabees 1:11.
I don't know if I still need that. I really want to go to Romans 7 real quick, and then I want Jeremiah or Hebrews 8:8. Give me Romans 7, Hebrews 8:8. What time we got? Way over. Never mind. Okay. Give me. We're gonna close out with Hebrews 8:8. I didn't realize it was this late. Good night. I'm gonna address it. Give me Romans 7 and Hebrews 8:8. I want to show y'all something real quick, because when I said that the other nations are only there to test us, is because the Lord doesn't want the threat of death to be why you do what He says. The threat of punishment. He wants you to do it because Christ died. Like the fact that our King lived his life perfectly and was innocent and lost his life to give us an opportunity to be the children of the Most High again, that should be why you put the pork down, the crab, shrimp, and lobster down, the blunt down, the crack pipe down. The death of Christ should be the reason, or your motivation and your zeal to be perfect too. Because why? Your leader loved you enough to lose his life to give you life. Now you don't have to worry about corrupt leaders ruling over you and being hypocrites. You don't have to worry. You're not following the Most High because you're afraid of dying. You're following Christ because he gave you the opportunity to live. Let me see. Give me just go ahead. We're gonna just stop at Romans 7. Give me or just read Romans 7, 1 through 4, and then we'll be done.
Okay, this is the book of Romans, chapter 7, and verse 1. Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law have dominion over man as long as he liveth.
Right, meaning that this agreement that we made with the Most High, it has rule over us as long as we're alive. Right, we're this contract that we have, we're bound to it as long as we're alive. Right, because like I said, the dead can't serve God. We serve the Most High through the law. Keep reading.
Okay, verse 2. For the woman which hath a husband is bound by the law to her husband.
Meaning that when sex is marriage, when a woman has sex with the man and that's her husband, she's bound to him until he's dead or she's dead. She's bound by that law. Keep reading.
So long as she liveth.
As he liveth.
As it's like if so long as he liveth. But if the husband be dead, she is loose from the law of her husband.
Meaning that this thing that rules over her, right, that has authority over her, if he dies, she's now free. That's the point of this, right? Keep reading.
Verse 3. So then if while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress.
Right. So if while you're under the authority of this man and you go and have sex with another man, you're committing adultery. Keep reading.
But if her husband be dead, she is free from that law.
Right, but if her husband's not alive, then her having sex with another man and getting married again, there's nothing. She's not bound by anything. She's not under that law. Keep reading.
So that she is no adulteress,
right?
Though she be married to another man.
Okay, keep going.
Verse 4. Wherefore, my brethren, ye also are become dead to the law by the body of Christ.
Meaning that, and this law really is talking about the priesthood, right? When it says the law, it means the priesthood that ruled over the Israelites, who they had to answer to. When Christ died, there was a changing of the guard. The authority went from the priesthood that was under Moses to Christ, which is the priesthood of the order of Melchizedek. Now we are under this authority. We're in covenant with something else. We have an agreement with something else now. You understand? The priesthood isn't over us no more. Meaning that we don't slow down and not speed because the police are sitting there on the median. We're not speeding because we know that speeding is wrong. And the person that let us go where we got brought before the court for drunk driving, and we were supposed to spend 20 years in jail, somebody else took the charge for us. And we were able to walk away free. So now I don't drink and drive because of the person that took my charge. And they paid for what I did. The memory of that, the thought of that keeps me from drinking and driving again. Now I'm going to live my life because the person that took the charge lost his life. Now we're married to another. Keep reading.
Go. That ye should be married to another, even to him who is raised from the dead, that we should bring forth fruit unto God.
Right, now, because Christ has been raised from the dead, he died because of our sins against the Most High, but the Lord raised him up, and he lived a perfect life. Now we have to be as he is. We have to be married to this work, married to this truth in the same way that he was. We have to be perfect. We're without excuse. Why? Because Christ was obedient unto death. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end the class. I went over time. We're gonna go ahead and close out with that Imajim, which means to stand. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shai Brakatah, Yajamatah, Sar, turn face to sisters. Sisters, please stand. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahweh Shamar Latham Ba Shem Yahweh Shai. Yajamatah, class dismissed.
Because when I found this truth, guess what happened? I put my birthday away. When I found this truth, I put the drugs away. When I found this truth, I quit whoring my sisters. When I found this truth, I started becoming a better man and a better person. Because now I know I'm on that narrow path. Now I know I'm on a righteous path. Now I know what I'm doing is going to get me somewhere.